What's up, YouTubers? Thank you for joining in for Week 2 recap of the Cleveland Browns and the NFL scores from the week. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. For the Cleveland Browns, man, they were outstanding this past weekend. First half was a little bit, crazy. It was neck and neck, but the second half we really took off. Now, the score was 31-21 against the Houston Texans. Baker, he was pretty good. He was 19 for 21. He had 213 yards, averaging about 10.1 yards per throw. He was good for one touchdown and one rushing touchdown. He had an interception. Sometimes that happens. And then, the sacks, they're getting better. Our line is holding for him. He only had 2 sacks, lost for 14 yards. So that's averaging about 7 yards, a sack. Hopefully we can get that together and we can get a little bit more protection. Sometimes when you get out to the outside, left or right, you may get sacked, and that might cause a couple yards that you lose from that. But the overall rating, it's not that bad. The quarterback rating for this week was 58 or 54.8. That's not too good. That's not bad, but it can improve. There's always room for improvement there. Now let's talk about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb did good this week. He was 11 carries for 95 yards, 5 yards short of that 100 yards. He's getting back to normal. It does take a little bit of time when you basically didn't play any of the preseason, and last week was your first game, and you went against a great defense, which was the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't complain when you have 95 yards, your second game, and you're going against a team that's really not. I don't see them going anywhere this season. Look at the quarterback situation they have going on. But he did good. He was averaging about 8.6 yards a carry for one touchdown. The big thing that is on everybody's mind if you're a Browns fan is how is Landry's injury going to hold up? Well, there was reports out today that he is a week-to-week injury, but then they changed it to now he's a minimum of 3 weeks he's going to miss for the MCL. Now, if we remember last year, Nick Chubb, he had the same kind of injury, MCL, and he was out for 6 weeks. Now, they're two different positions. With Nick Chubb, you're going against, guys that are 250 plus, so, you're trying to use those yards or those feet to get that extra yardage, and the MCL, you don't want to come back too early. Now with Landry, he's a receiver, so he's not going against big players, but still you do need your knees to work to go ahead and get more yardage and to try to run fast as well. So I say he's going to be out a minimum of 3 weeks. Probably seen week 5, maybe the longest I'd say is week 6 or 7. He has already put out statements all over the internet that, quote unquote, every time he puts that brace on, the other person will feel it. He's one of those dedicated players to the Browns that, just like OBJ, just like Nick, just like, Hunt and Baker, the whole organization, they're all dedicated to this team now. They believe that they have something that Cleveland hasn't seen in a while, and it's all about the land. There's players that have left contracts and left teams that could possibly go to the Super Bowl just to come to Cleveland because they want to be a part of something incredible. It's a big impact when you lose great players and, out for a little bit or even, a couple plays. It still is very, very noticeable, shall we say. Now we got to think, who are we going to put in now? Are we going to put in OBJ? Are we going to go bring somebody from the practice squad up? Are we going to sign somebody? In my eyes, I think we should put in OBJ. OBJ's had enough time to, go through the therapy, get everything back to normal. Even though he hasn't really had that much contact in practice or camp, he's able to come back and try to get some contact this week. So we'll see what happens. If anything, they may just hold him out another week. We still got some people, we can use. But, you got Sanchez, you got Hollywood Higgins, you have, People Jones. You got players, but everybody wants to see OBJ out there. And Landry, he's going to be out there supporting, even though he can't physically play. As long as they let him travel, he's going to travel. And we all know that we appreciate them being there because, that shows how dedicated you are to the team. And we know that his dedication goes a far way. Now let's jump into the scores for the previous week. You had the Giants who played Washington. The Giants lost 29-30. You had the Bengals who played the Bears. The Bears won 20-17. The Rams played the Colts. The Rams won 27-24. The Bills blew out the Dolphins 35-0. We knew that Allen wasn't a joke, and losing last week I think did something to him, and I think that's what he had to come out here and show, that he wasn't playing around. You had the Patriots. They won 25-6. 49ers, they won 17-11 against the Eagles. The Raiders won 26-17 against the Steelers. Quick update on that one. The Steelers are saying that Ben is kind of not doing so well. He has an injury that's, they'll see what's going to happen, but that's good for the Browns, because they are in our division. The Saints played the Panthers and lost 26-7. Broncos played the Jaguars and won 23-13. Vikings lost by 1 point to the Cardinals, 34-33. The Falcons played the Buccaneers. Buccaneers won 48-25. Cowboys won against the Chargers 20-17. Titans came back against the Seahawks and won 33-30. And then last night's game, Green Bay Packers 35-17 against the Lions. You guys remember last week I said, Aaron Rodgers, he's not too worried about anything. He doesn't really want to get traded. He's going to come out here and show you that he's still for real. You could see it in his eyes when he was making plays. It's one of those things that everything has to mesh together, and you have to have all the puzzle pieces in there. And whatever it was last week that was, blocking it, this week they came out and they showed out. So, Green Bay Packers, they're going to be playoff contentions. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump into this week's games. Our Thursday night game is Carolina versus Houston at 8:20. Our 1 o'clock games on Sunday are the Bears versus the Browns, Washington versus Buffalo, Baltimore versus Detroit, Indianapolis versus Tennessee, Chargers versus Kansas City, New Orleans versus New England, Atlanta versus New York Giants, and Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. You also have Arizona versus Jackson. That will be your 1 o'clock games. Your 4:05 games this week will be New York Jets versus Denver. Then you have Miami versus Las Vegas. That's our 4:05 games. Our 4:25 games is Tampa Bay versus the Rams. You have Seahawks versus Minnesota. And then our 8:20 game for this Sunday will be Green Bay versus San Francisco. Our Monday night game will be the Eagles versus Dallas. So thank you guys for joining in this week to week 2 recap of the Browns and also going over the NFL scores. Hope you guys like it. Go ahead and comment below if you have any questions, or if you just want to leave a comment, that's perfect too. Like and subscribe, and you guys have a great week, and let's go Brownies. Ho, ho, ho!